I paid Marshal Vanth a visit. You should have never left him without his armor.
Release the Rancor! The Book of Boba Fett reached its action-packed conclusion, and as it turns out, riding around on a Rancor actually does command quite a bit of respect. Directed by Robert Rodriguez, In the Name of Honor finally settles the debate on who's the real crime lord of record in Mos Espa, plus we get to the bottom of when we think we might see Cad Bane again. We got the full breakdown along with all the Easter eggs we could spot, but before we get into any of that, I have to warn you, we're about to spoil this entire season finale and where we think Star Wars is headed after that. So if you haven't seen this week's episode yet, or you don't want to know what we think, now would be the time to catch a ride out of here until we're done.
Boba.
Let's do this. Right here. Right now.
Okay, now that we're past the spoiler warning, let's get right to the big takeaways. Cobb Vanth lives, but Cad Bane does not, at least for right now. Also, R.I.P. Boba Fett's adorable Gamorrean guard couple, and the mayor of Mos Espa, though I guess it's really good riddance for him. The gang war that Boba Fett and Fennec Shand have been prepping for finally goes down, and in the end, Boba Fett is the only daimyo left standing, and Grogu is reunited with Din Djarin and actually turns the tide of the fight more than once. Okay, I know that's a lot to throw on you all at once, so here's a quick recap to show how we got there, starting with Cad Bane. Cad Bane appears to die at the hands of Boba Fett in a final showdown during a full-blown battle for Mos Espa. Stabbed in the chest with the business end of a gaffy stick, it sure looks like Cad is headed to that big bounty hunt in the sky, unless someone decides he's worth saving. Because here's the thing, this episode has a mid-credit scene featuring an unconscious Cobb Vanth in a bacta-tank as Thundercat, the droid parts modifier who worked on Fennec Shand, gets ready to give Vanth a few upgrades. Yes, Cobb Vanth only took a shot in the shoulder, but Fennec Shand was in considerably worse shape and he was able to fix her up. What I'm saying is that if these characters can come back from wounds like that, then what's stopping Cad Bane from adding some cybernetic parts and coming back to fight another day? Anyway, this all happens as the culmination of the big fight for Mos Espa after all of the local crime families immediately betrayed Boba, so it's Team Boba Fett versus basically all of the scum and villainy in town. Luckily, he's got Fennec Shand, Din Djarin, Black Chrysanthemum, who he now just calls Santo because I guess they're cool, the mods, and at the very last minute, the people of Freetown, who come back to avenge their assumed dead Marshal, who got gunned down by Cad Bane in Chapter 6. This fight had it all. You got Mando and Boba being jetpack bros, you got Boba riding a Rancor, which was great. Then of course there's some big-ass Scorpion-neck Annihilator droids making a mess, and of course the big showdown between Boba and Cad Bane.
Don't toy with me. I'm not a little boy any longer. And you are an old man.
I'm still faster than you.
We brought this up last week, but that line there might actually connect back to a Clone Wars story reel that Dave Filoni showed at Star Wars Celebration 2017, where it suggested that Cad Bane not only trained a young Boba Fett, but he was also responsible for the dent in Boba's helmet. That dent is way more impressive now that we know how Beskar works, right? Anyway, when the dust settles, Boba Fett stands alone as the daimyo of Mos Espa, as all the Pikes are dead or on the run, and Fennec Shand has handled Mok Shaiz, the mayor of Mos Espa, on her own. Boba is now ruling with respect, which is awesome since he damn near destroyed half the town in this episode. So when will we see Cad Bane again? Well, that's kind of a trick question. It's almost certain that he's going to appear in the Bad Batch Season 2, but with him showing up in the Season 1 finale, we'll see him track down experimental Clone Force 99 as the Empire gets more powerful and more brutal, but does Cad Bane have a place in Star Wars' literal future, or is this the end of the line for him? Our best advice, until you see him burning on the funeral pyre Qui-Gon Jinn style, you'd better keep an eye open for him to come back tougher than ever, probably with some new hoses sticking out of his neck. Of course, Grogu is on Tatooine for all of this. Master Luke gave him the choice to choose the way of the Jedi or the way of the Mandalore, and smash cut to R2 delivering the Beskar-wearing Grogu just in time for Boba Fett's gang war to pop off. That seems like child endangerment, but whatever, he's like 50. That's right, Grogu made his choice and he chose the shirt of Beskar chainmail and walked away from his Jedi training with Luke. And I like to imagine that Grogu made this choice pretty easily and almost immediately because, after all, Grogu knows exactly what a lightsaber is and how much good it did the Jedi who were protecting him. Meanwhile, he's seen the Beskar armor offer quite a bit more protection, so given what he knows, his choice makes a lot of sense. But who are we kidding? Grogu's choice wasn't motivated by tactical concerns, he just wanted to be with Papa Mando again. And we get the reunion right in the heat of a deadly firefight that Peli Motto accidentally found herself in the middle of. Luckily, Grogu indirectly alters the course of the fight more than once. He protected Din Djarin from a Scorpion droid and the rampaging Rancor, but by protecting the Mandalorian, he's also helping out Boba Fett's cause. So, to review, Grogu, who just received Force training from the Luke Skywalker, went directly from there to go help Boba Fett win a gang war using those Force powers that Luke just helped him hone. R2-D2 even delivered him. I wonder what Luke would think of that if he knew about it. Does he know about that? We have questions. So for now, it seems that Grogu is less interested in finishing his training than he is in tripping the light fantastic with his Beskar-wearing best buddy. So what does that mean? Well, just because Grogu doesn't seem interested in lightsabers doesn't mean that Din Djarin couldn't use some lessons of his own on how to wield that darksaber he's been lugging around. It's a very safe bet that when The Mandalorian Season 3 hits, there will be more than one Mandalorian trying to kill him for it.
Here. Hang on to this.
And of course, now it's time for the Easter eggs that we found in this episode, so get ready to punch it.
You've got your father's blood pumping through your veins.
This was an obvious reference to Boba's dear old dad, Jango Fett, who wasn't really referenced as much as we thought he might be in this one. You think Jango would be proud of his little unaltered clone all grown up and now a full-blown crime lord?
Yep.
Yeah, I do too. The Trandoshans sure did take to the task of ambushing Black Chrysanthemum, but that's probably because Trandoshans and Wookiees are natural mortal enemies. The Book of Boba Fett first hinted at this in the first episode when this Trandoshan, played by Robert Rodriguez, offered Boba a tribute of a bunch of Wookiee pelts. If those Scorpion Annihilator droids reminded you of those roly-poly and equally hard-to-kill droidicas from the Phantom Menace, it's because they are constructed by the same folks, a little like how there are those regular battle droids and then the super battle droids. The land speeder the Freetown reinforcements roll up in looks to be a heavily modified version of the same model that the Lars family had on their moisture farm, and the cycler rifle that Drash borrows from one of them is the same one Luke carried early on in A New Hope. Those trooper helmets on spikes should look familiar. We first saw them in the marketing build-up for The Mandalorian Season 1.
R2, hit the bus droid, center eye!
Not really the same kind of droid, but the logic still holds. The Rancor had a few King Kong moments. In addition to the obvious tower climbing while swatting at airborne attackers, the shot of him ripping the first droid in half was reminiscent of Kong breaking that T-Rex's jaw. And with that, what did you think of the Book of Boba Fett finale? Did it stick the landing? And is Cad Bane really dead? Also, is Danny Trejo gonna machete somebody for letting out the Rancor? Let us know what you think in the comments below. And as always, thank you for watching this episode of Canon Fodder. For more Star Wars, here's everything you can expect from that galaxy far, far away over the course of this year. And don't forget to follow and subscribe to IGN wherever you like to watch.